And my mystery guest tonight is going to show you how to absolutely put your business in overdrive. He's my good friend, a past business associate, and I'm pleased to introduce you to Mr. Mike Healy. Mike, you want to take it away?
I don't know about taking it away, but I'll do something. So we'll be good. Well, first off, Ray, thank you so much for the kind words. And I'm actually so excited to see a lot of names I recognize on here. I'm going through some of the names, letting people in on the Zoom and things like that. I'm still admitting people as they're coming in. But it's really awesome to kind of get the band back together in a little bit. It's like some of you guys I haven't got to see or talk to in years. Like Ray, I think you and I hadn't even maybe talked in 18 years probably,
It's
close to
true.
that, which is amazing. So let me give you guys just a quick history because some of you may not know who I am. Um, I'm 56 years old. I got started in network marketing about 28 years ago because I was in the bar business and I hated bartending and became a raging alcoholic. Was fighting all the time because I have kind of that skill set. I bounced for quite a few years. And then somebody took me to a meeting one time and said, come check this out. I thought it was a job interview when it turned out it was a network marketing meeting. The first company was Excel Communications. I watched a guy get in front of the room that was a former farmer and gave the worst presentation I've ever been through. It was like watching paint dry. And it was like an hour long, and I was just couldn't wait for it to be over. And the last piece of paper he flipped over on the flip chart, because that's back in the day we had to use flip charts in a hotel. It had some money on there, and then he basically came out and said he was making like, I don't know, like $3,000 a month in residual income. And that's all I heard from a whole hour presentation. And something tripped my trigger just like that. It went off in my body, my spirit. And I was like, if that guy can make that kind of money, I know I can go after this and figure something out. And I got in, and my sponsor signed me up. It was a younger kid. He was a year younger than me. I was 27. He was 28 at the time. And or he was 26. I was 27. And he signed me up. And this is a true story. 2 weeks after he enrolled me, he inherited $3.2 million off of an uncle who passed away. And I never heard from him again. That's a true story. And so I basically became what they call ignorance on fire, because ignorance on fire will always beat knowledge on ice. And I just knew that that was a Tuesday meeting that I went to, and I kept trying to go to these Tuesday meetings and learn. And that's how I got launched in the business. So you don't have to be an expert. I ended up doing okay, and then I did some stints, and then I finally, after years and years of trying and everything, kind of got things going to the point that I had made multiple seven figures in networking now. Was able to raise my kids. I've had one job in like almost 30 years that was just temporary. I've been able to build teams in the tens of thousands. I personally enrolled over 2,700 people now. And here's what I'll tell you, and I hope you guys, when I say some of this stuff, understand that the principles that you will ever learn from Ray Heron, who I think is one of the masters in this, and Fifi Cheek, and some of the other leaders that you'll hear on here, the principles of the basics never change. Perhaps the delivery method of them does, right? Like you can use the internet now to tell your story, where when I was starting, you only would go to a hotel meeting on a weekday, and it was just like pulling teeth to get somebody to show up. Now you can text somebody a video, right? That's so much farther. So the principles always stay the same. It's the power of the messaging that kind of gets delivered better. So Ray, do you want me to kind of give people go into some training of this and stuff and kind of show them what I do?
I'd love to, Mike. Your 1, 2, 3 system. I love that. I mean, it starts with a sizzle call. I don't. Most of them on here on this Zoom tonight, perhaps have heard it, but yeah, just share with us and maybe do a little bit of training at the same
Okay.
time. The only thing we
I,
have to do, I've been through your system. It's really it's as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned. But what I really like about it is that we all can do it. I mean, it's just easy. It's 1, 2, 3.
right. Okay. So you can see my screen, how to launch your Nelo Life business.
Yes.
We good? Okay. So let me, and the reason I put this PowerPoint together is kind of to keep my train of thought, most importantly, and I'm going to breeze through some of this. Now, just as proof that I want to prove to you that anybody can do this business, hopefully you can see that picture big enough. That is actually me. practically passed out with all those beer cans and bottles. And the reason I put that in here, and I'm not ashamed to put that in here, was that was pretty much the lifestyle that we were running at. And I was completely broke in that photo. Okay. And so I want to say, if this guy can learn this stuff, so can you. Okay. Now, here's the thing is people ask themselves two basic questions whenever they're looking at a business. Is it worth it? And can I really do it? Okay. The good news is I have a really great family now. A huge dose of Jesus got me out of that lifestyle. And my kids are awesome. They're all bigger than they are in this photo, by the way. I'm still the shortest guy in the house. Everybody's moved out and stuff like that. I got to let somebody in real quick. And but because of that, it's been great. Now I wanted to put this in here to kind of give you some just a little vision. Right after I joined the networking business, I always wanted a nicer car because I was driving like the rusted out cars or rusted vans. I had a van that one door didn't open, had the wood paneling, had 280,000 miles on it. I got one daughter in it, that kind of thing. And I remember vision dreaming, and I went to the Mercedes dealership and I took pictures. I drove one, and I was so scared to drive it because I was so intimidated by the car. I literally went about 200 yards up the street, turned around and put it back and came back. And obviously the guy could tell that we weren't probably ready to purchase that. And so I had Stacy take pictures with a little flip camera of that car. Now here's what's crazy. You fast forward probably 10, 15 years later as I'm learning networking and finally getting it going. And that Mercedes on the right, I ended up buying. But I didn't realize until I accidentally found those photos that that was the exact looking model that I had driven. I didn't even realize that. Like, it actually freaked me out. I was like, that's really bizarre. Okay. Now, over my career, I've done real well, been able to travel the world, cover magazines, public speaking, the whole nine yards. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to show you, and won top recruiter awards in most of the companies I'm in. All right, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of this, because I actually enjoy doing the training parts of this probably more than anything that I do in the business. Okay, is the power of what we do here is all you really have to do. The success principle here is you got to learn how to get a large group of people to do a few easy tasks over a sustained period of time. The key is you have to ask yourself, what are the easy tasks? And you have to make the decision that you're going to be in it for a sustained period. You have to understand that this is going to be a process. Now, all of you guys are familiar with a company called McDonald's, right? Would you or would you not admit that you probably have a good chance that you can make a better hamburger than McDonald's? Everybody would raise their hand and say, 100%. You could drop your burger off your grill onto the ground and it would still be a better burger than a McDonald's burger, right? But the power of McDonald's is not in their burgers. The power of McDonald's is in their systems. Anybody can plug into what they would call the system of the McDonald's, the franchise itself, how it's structured, how people do things, and they have a very, very good chance of success, right? Because they can bring on someone who's a high school kid who has no business background, no education, no interest probably in hamburgers, and plug them right into where they need to be, and they can become successful. And I heard a guy say this, and it changed my career in networking when he said that this, because he was explaining about McDonald's and the power of it, and I applied this to McDonald's or network marketing. He said the system is sorry, I was trying to let somebody in and I put the wrong one. The system's a leverage by which you turn ordinary people into extraordinary performers. Great businesses do not look for extraordinary people. Great businesses look for ordinary people and leverage them with extraordinary systems. Now, don't get this complicated in thinking that I'm going to show you some really crazy AI tool or anything like that. What a system is merely a way to get somebody from point A to point B. Now, all of us in direct selling, networking, whatever you want to call it, have also heard people they go, oh, I just, you got to get my people motivated. Okay. This was another point that I picked up that I thought was just brilliant. He said, rather than motivate people to increase productivity, go sponsor more reps, go do this. If you create systems that increase productivity, the motivation naturally follows. I want you to take for a second and stare at that phrase. rather than motivate people to increase productivity, if you create systems that allow people to have increased productivity and simplicity, motivation naturally follows because they're going to get results. Now, I don't have this in any of the PowerPoint here, but I want you to think about this. Is the one thing that I learned a long time ago that really began to change my career as I was putting these puzzle pieces together was I learned to become activity motivated and not outcome motivated. And by learning to get excited about the process, let the process work for me, knowing that the process will always work, I always got the results. Okay. I was always able to recruit people. I was able to join a company once I started to figure this out, that if I just stayed the course and did the activity, the proper activity, I did the right order. I showed somebody the right tool at the right time and did it repetitively, consistently. That's what created the results. And I didn't have to think about it. Okay. So, because if you have a good system, you don't need to motivate people. The good part is you can then inspire people. You can have fun conference calls. You can go to events and just hug each other and love each other and talk about stories. If motivation is like a shower, you have to take it too often for it to really work. If you have a good system, it's just about being consistent, because if you have to be motivated every day, this business might not be for you, because it's all about being disciplined in the activity. Okay. So I'm just throwing some of this stuff out there because I think it's important. Now, everybody, if you've ever been in networking or you've been in business or whatever, you've heard about this, everybody calls it a funnel, right? Oh, these guys make funnel. There's click funnels, there's lead funnels, blah, blah, blah. All a funnel really is, if you think about it, it's a series of steps put in a strategic order where it takes your person or prospect on a journey. You basically do this. Now, the process I use is typically 3 steps that makes them aware of what we're doing. So I might text them something. I send them a sizzle call, which makes them intrigued. And then we have a conversation and they make the decision of yes or no, they're going to be a member. You want to hear my big closing line? I'll give you my close right now. What do you want to do next? That's all I say when I'm closing people. If I think that I've shown them enough info, I just say, what do you want to do next? And I'm on or off. Okay. Now in our company, Nelo Life, your single most important priority is this little this brick. This is the brick right here. This is your freedom picture, if you want, that if you do this and you teach this over and over and over, simple, get to who get to. Get to who get to. Get to who get to. How do you build a building? How do you build a bank? One brick at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So if you have something like this, you can keep you understand your goals. Like if you wrote this down on just a piece of paper where you had you at the top and you had your two frontline, 4 next level, it doesn't, and you're just helping those personals. That's what we're trying to do. We're getting 2 to get to. The matrix might push them in different spots, but you understand what I'm saying here. Okay. Now, this is very simple. This shouldn't be hard, but I just try to, because I say pretty much the same thing over and over again, because I know this stuff works. Whoever tells the story the most wins. Now, here's what I did. Go back to simple, easy tasks. I decided, so a long time ago, when I made the decision that I was going to make a secondary income, and I was going to make it worth my while. Like I was going to do the work and I was going to be consistent. I was going to focus only on the activity, because I knew that if I did the activity, the outcome would happen. Again, you can't tell the duds from the studs, the zeros from the heroes. If you listen to anything by Jim Rohn, specifically track 6 on how to build your network marketing business, he says that if you work the numbers work. Basically, law of large numbers. If you do something long enough, a ratio will appear. Listen to that track over and over and over. I pretty much have it memorized. So what I believed I was easily capable of, and I've seen in history of everybody I've introduced this to, that 5 contacts a day, 5 days a week is not hard to do. And when I mean 5 contacts, I don't care who it is, what their background is, what they currently do, or where they're at. It does not matter. I promise you. Okay. What you're trying to do is you're trying to work these numbers as fast as you can. There's a great book called the first book I ever read in network marketing that was handed to me by the #1 money earner at the time. I think in of all of network marketing was Paul Orbison. He was making, I think at his peak, $1.3 million a month. He was from Danville, Kentucky. I live in Columbus, Ohio. We drove to Atlanta for a training. On the way back, the guys I was with went to high school with him and stopped by his house. And I was just enamored to have the opportunity to meet this guy. And he opened the door, answered the door in a t-shirt, sweatpants, tube socks, and he had a chew in his lip. And I was just blown away that this was this guy making this kind of money. And that's what he looked like when he answered the door. And he hadn't shaved in probably 4 days. I was literally blown away. We sit at his living room table. He shows me his downline report because we all used to get paper things. It was the size of the people he had gotten paid on that month was the size of 2 phone books stacked side by side. That's how thick it was on the people he got paid with that month because we didn't have the internet back then. And I found my name. He goes, Mike, did you sponsor anybody last month? I said, yeah. I gave him my name, and it was in alphabetical order. I found this kid, and I found him, and he goes, well, Mike, how long you been in? And I said, I've been in about 90 days. He goes, all right, who got you in? Who got you in? And we tracked it back on a guy he had enrolled 8 years earlier. And here he was getting paid on a guy. And I go, you're telling me you got a guy in 8 years ago and you're getting paid on a guy today that I just got in? He goes, ain't network marketing neat? And I'm like, you bet it is. But then I saw he had a bookshelf behind him, and this is me coming out of the bar business. So I didn't read, wasn't a reader, wasn't a leader. And I said, you read all his books? Like it was like some big myth, surprise. And I said, man, I'd love to learn this. And he walks over and he gives me this tattered copy of All You Can Do Is All You Can Do, but All You Can Do Is Enough by Art Williams. And I remember reading it, and it was so basic, and it gave me every principle I needed and everything like that. And to my point of what I was saying with this page was there's a point in there where he was talking about an insurance company that hired this big company to come in, these guys to come in and figure out why they weren't growing, why they weren't working. And they basically came right out and said, you're just not seeing enough people. And they're like, that can't be it. That can't be it. And the guy said, all I want you to do is take your 100 of your salesmen, have them walk out on the street, knock on doors, and ask everybody, say this one thing. Hey, you don't want any insurance, do you? And that day, what happened was every day they were able to like talk to more people, like 60 people a day asked that. And some people would say, absolutely, I've been looking, and open their door and come in. And the company's numbers within a month spiked because they didn't prejudge. They did the right activity that mattered. The only activity that mattered was introducing people to take a look. That's the only activity that matters, because you will go insane thinking you can try to sponsor people. That's what people are confused about when they hear I've sponsored so many people. I haven't sponsored that many people. I have introduced more people than that to take a look, but I did it so fast that the numbers worked, that people sponsor themselves. I never convince anybody. I never beg anybody, and so on. And I know I got winded on that one, but 100 contacts at only a 5% closing ratio would give you 5 reps, right? That within that, if you just stayed consistent with that, and you basically just said, hey, send 5 people a text a day. While you're on lunch break, you could do that. I used to sit on a stationary bike with the job that I said that I had, and I would pedal the bike while I had clients come in because I was a personal trainer. I'd sit on a stationary bike and make phone calls and ask people permission to send them a website. This is before I didn't have a cell phone back then, right? Okay, so here's what I'll tell you is I basically have over and over, company after company, because I don't company jump, by the way. Nobody ever wants to jump companies. But if a company's not doing what I think, they're doing stuff unethical, or they change comp plans, or they just go out of business, you can take your skills with you. You might not be able to take your check, but you can take your skills. So what I have seen over 15 years of doing this way I do this, I have seen it work over and over and over. And I had a video, and I'll make sure it's on nelotraining.com at the bottom. If you scroll down to the bottom, I already put this on that long form page. Okay. Nelotraining.com. If you scroll down, you'll see this 3 easy step video. It's like 3.5 minutes long. The only 3 steps that I need to do to build this business, the only 3 steps that you need to really do to build this business, and it's going to sound way too easy to have any success, but I promise you, if you'll follow them, it works, is I introduce people with a simple recorded message. The only purpose of that recorded message is to pique someone's interest enough to where they want more information to watch a short presentation without overloading them with info. Does that make sense? Then at the last step, so basically it's sizzle call, which is what we call it, step 1. The second step is I send them a short presentation. Short presentation is just the presentation would be that one I have. It says short presentation. It's like 10 minutes long. Now, I don't go into all the detail of the comp plan, every step, because here's what I'll tell you. If you're going through every single thing, a confused mind does nothing. I try to skin off all the fat and give them the meat. When I do presentations, when I do talks, when I do everything like that, I just want them to focus on the right things. The right thing is, if they enroll and they purchase a travel portal, they're going to get savings. If they refer some people to it, they're going to get it for free. If they take it farther than that, then great. And I always, because what happens is they start to see the community talking about success. They start to hear about people getting checks. They start to hear about, people getting promoted, and their curiosity, if they're hungry, will go into asking the correct questions that you have the details on. The third step of this is I kind of call it the buffet, which is I send them to the nelotraining.com page. The reason for that is my short videos at the top of that one. Now, this number 2 video, by the way, I do have it on a standalone website, which is promoterswanted.com. Promoterswanted.com. And that's the presentation video by itself, generic, no sign up, anything like that. And then what I typically do is I follow up with them after that one, and I ask them, or I may just automatically say, hey, you may have more questions, go here. Now, here's the thing. If I send them, so they may have watched the second presentation, and I send them to the training page, the power of the training page is this, is more times than not, they're always, again, asking themselves 2 questions. Is it worth doing? Can I do it? The whole time I'm doing this process of I sent them a text. I sent them a text to the link to a video. I sent them something else. In the back of their head, they realized they could easily do that. I don't answer every question they have, and I'll explain that. I have a slide for that. I sent them that. Excuse me. And on the bottom of that training page, for a reason, that training video is down there, because they might go through and see this, and then they're asking themselves, well, what am I really going to have to do to build this business? And when I have a 3-minute video at the bottom to help close them with a simple 3-step system that they obviously have an aha moment that this isn't rocket science. I don't have to know how travel works. I don't know how a search engine works. I don't have to compare pricing every 2 seconds. They go, I can probably do that. I mean, we're literally talking somebody joining this business for less than it costs to go eat at a family of 4 at a Chipotle at this point, right? Now, kind of moving on here. And Ray, if you have anything you want to interject, just keep, otherwise I'll keep going. You good? You were unmuted anyhow.
I'm good. Keep going, brother.
Okay. Now, one of the things I will tell you too is if you want to go old school, find tablets that you have names down on, email lists that you might have, yearbooks, and social media. Now, excuse me, some of the posts that I put on social media just out there, I typically am not a lot of times saying, join my business, join my business. I make fun posts like the one on the bottom left. I'll read it for you if you can't see it. I made a post that says, for years, my wife and I wanted to travel, but typically had to settle for low budget facilities, subpar transportation, and trailer park booze cruises. So I kind of made it fun and joking. And that was a picture I took years ago. I went on a vacation to Aruba at the Hyatt, I think it was a Hyatt or Hilton or something like that. I think it was a Hyatt. Really, really nice Ritz. It was a Ritz Carlton. I'm sorry, at Aruba, and I made that post. In the bottom of that post, I would say something like, "I'm really excited about the new travel platform my friend introduced me to." I wouldn't say something like, "Go buy my travel portal," right? Because all I want to do is create curiosity. And you can do this. And what I will do too, I'm just giving you tips to kind of get in front of people. Okay. So no matter what, I take my phone and I text people. That's first, number one priority is I just go through and I pre-make a message. I send it to myself. It'll be something like, hey, hey, Lisa, I need your help. I'm trying to win a company contest. Don't know if you help me or not, but all I need you to do is listen to this recording and I get credit for it. Thanks, Mike. When you ask people for help, you create curiosity and you give them a small task. Most people want to help you, but I just basically gave her curiosity to do that. Now, here's the thing. You can't say the wrong thing to the right people. A lot of people will not take action because they're trying to be perfect. Stop it. Just stop it. I say some of the dumbest things. I text some of the dumbest things, and I joke around all the time to make it fun. Because if this business isn't fun, I'm out. Period. Right? If it becomes too much work, count me out. I want to have fun doing this. I'll sit at my pool all afternoon and send texts to people. The other thing I love to do is I love to leave audio texts. In fact, I started doing more towards audio text and just because you can convey more enthusiasm without telling somebody what I'm in or how it works. I would take my phone, maybe go to Facebook Messenger where you can leave an audio message, and I would say, "Hey, Ray, Mike Healy, how you doing, man? Hey, listen, I know you're busy and I know you got a lot of stuff on your plate, but I had a friend of mine introduce me to something. I was totally blown away by this. If you get a second, it's really short. I want you to listen to this recorded message I'm about to text you. I'm telling you, you got to tell me if you see like what I see, you'll see. Tell me about that. You see how I messed up and I don't care? And I push send. I don't re-record it. I sound like ignorance on fire on purpose. You have to sound like you're going insane half the time. Read the first chapter. If you don't believe me, read the first chapter of the book, How I Went from Failure to Success in Selling by Frank Bettiger. Best thing you can read. How I went from failure to success, because it was all about enthusiasm. That it's all about enthusiasm. If you enthusiastically leave an audio message to somebody, they will listen to what you have to what you sent them almost 100% of the time. Okay. Now, real quick, just so I'm clear on this, that sizzle call I know works because I built another travel business with this 5 years ago using the exact sizzle message. I just tweaked it a little bit based on what we had. Okay. I have at least a 75% listen through completion because I see a report when I send it to somebody. I see the time somebody called in and how long they listened. It's 9 minutes long, and I see 9, 9, 9, 9, 1, 9, 9, 2, 3, 7, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, and on and on. The reason it works is because I psychologically scripted it to and get someone's attention, because that tool is the tool you can use to disarm anybody that it's not something worth at least investigating. That's the key. You're trying to get someone to want to investigate why you're going nuts on their recorder, why you left a crazy man message. By doing that, you can then send them to step 2, and they will watch step 2 about 80 to 90% of the time because you piqued their interest in the first place. That's what I figured out. What I figured out was, I can speed my recruiting process up, because you'll be shocked at how many people, and I used to do it, you would be what they call the killer bees. You would badger and beg people to join the thing. You would just stay on them and stay on the same person. Oh, I got 2 people in the pipeline. I'm going to call Mary on Tuesday. And you wait till Tuesday to call Mary back. And you never talk to anybody else. I'll move through 50 people at the pool Wednesday. Okay. Now, the other thing too, don't load your whole Facebook, social media, everything up with just business stuff. Like, I put different things on there. I might put me and Stacy, my wife, standing on a stage. I put pictures of my family on there. You can't make it look like you want to engage with people just to put them in something. Most of my pictures on my Facebook page are just me having fun, me doing something dumb. And that's what works, because people are there to be entertained in most cases, not overwhelmed. But I will introduce people, but I will find people, and I will leave them excited audio messages asking them for the thing. Okay, now here's the other thing I will tell you this. I'll tell you this is how I answer questions. And I'm going to slow down on this because I don't want to, I got to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from this. I always ask myself, instead of always answering something for somebody, 1 second, I got to meet that guy. Instead of always answering every question everybody always has by them calling me taking 20 minutes out of my day to talk to them and answer questions. There's nothing wrong with building a relationship. It's different. I always ask myself, is there a video, a tool, a recording, a Zoom that's already been done that will answer that? And here's why. The key is to get a large group of people to do a few easy tasks over a sustained period of time. Large group can become overwhelming if you do it wrong. And if you don't set them up first in place, then what happens is, here's the thing too. If they come to me for every single answer, they will always be dependent and never become independent. How I have always made people easily independent was if they asked me a question, if they called me, I answered the phone. Don't get me wrong. But then when they asked me a comp plan question, if it was something I could easily answer, I would say yes. But I would always try to say, here's a good video that explained it in detail that you might want to watch. Here's why. That person may be in the business for an hour and somebody asked them that question, so they think they need to know it. I've been in business a lot longer, but I answer them use this tool. Guess what my new person can automatically do instantly? There's no pressure for them to learn anything. And I know that sounds strange to kind of hear how I say that, but I learned to try to get my people that I put in my organization systems dependent. That way, when we did do Zooms, did conference calls, most of it was just talking about fun, dreaming stuff. The stuff that really matters, that really moves the needle, is your vision. Like, my vision is a Bentley. My wife's cousin has a black Bentley that's 1,100 horsepower. It'll go 220 miles an hour. I want one. New goal. Like, I'm talking tears to your eyes, gorgeous. And I've always liked those. But when you see one that's 1,100 horsepower in action, I mean, you stomp on the pedal and that will reverse the rotation of the earth, if you believe that. Like, it's just insane how gorgeous this thing is. Can I send texts at lunchtime or while I'm sitting at the pool or whatever every day, knowing at the end of that process, I'm getting a black Bentley. You tell me. Your goal might not be that, but I'm stretching myself on this one, right? So what I typically do, and here's the thing, this is the company's brand new. So there will be better presentations that come out. There will be better training videos that come out. There will be better everything that continues to improve. It just is natural progression. It's a natural evolution of how this business will grow. Okay. You got to understand that. Last couple things. Here's the problem with network marketing is it looks so good on the outside, but you don't realize a lot of times until you're in it that you have to roll up your sleeves and get dirty and get in it. And I don't mean be unethical. I mean, you got to, if you want to dig, you need a ditch dug 10 feet deep and 100 feet long. You got to grab a shovel and start digging, right? I just happen to think that using these type of tools, a 3-step system, gives you a backhoe versus just using your own shovel. But I always try to keep this in perspective, put this slide in here. When you begin in this business, you're putting 100% of your time and effort into this thing, and it doesn't look like it's worth it because you put 2 reps in 2 months, and you're like, I may be insane for pursuing this dream. This might be the dumbest thing I've ever thought of. My family thinks I'm crazy. I can't believe they aren't right that I quit my bartending career to do network marketing. I must be a complete idiot. Guess who doesn't have a job? Guess who doesn't wakes up when they're done sleeping, not when they hear an alarm clock because they were dumb? This guy, right? But your personal output at the very beginning is where it hurts the most and shows what appears to be the least amount of rewards. But what happens is as you take off, in my opinion, is there's a thing called the law of 100 that if you do whatever it takes to get your organization in a relatively short period of time over 100 total people, you'll start to get the 80-20 rule kicking into your favor. As I watch this happen, the amount of time it takes you to go from 4 reps to 50 reps might be 6 months, but from 50 reps to 100 reps might take you 3 months. From 100 reps to 1,000 reps might take you a month. Like, it's just weird how this is. Just go multiply a penny over and over and over again, 30 days, you get it. But the valley of death is that little portion right here is where we lose most of the people that just don't have the guts to stick it out. If you do the work, you do the activity, you'll do it. Last couple slides. All you got to do is look at some of the people that we recognize as some of the most successful in their sport. They've done things like missed over 9,000 shots. The reason he's made so many and won so many games and everything is because he took shots. He kept shooting. He kept shooting. Gretzky, you miss 100 shots that they don't take. If you don't, send somebody a text asking them to listen to a short sizzle call, which is not painful. You won't have it. And this is a great slide, but it's painful for me as a Ohio State Buckeye fan. But Bo Schembechler was Michigan's head coach. Those who stay will be champions. What you have to make the decision of is, are you going to stick around long enough for your results to mean anything? Are you going to do the simple things over a sustained period of time and just stay mentally excited? Plug into the conference calls. What you're doing, what the purpose of the conference calls are, is not necessarily to train you every single time because you typically don't learn anything, but you may hear that one encouraging story that keeps you in one more day, one more week, one more month, that you start getting that business going, and you're going to now get after this thing to the point that you're making money. You're making money that's worth it. You've got people that are getting in and they're making money. And now the stories are getting out there. So Ray Heron, I know I went through a lot. That's probably way more than you expected me to throw out at you tonight. So if I went over, I apologize. But if it was good, good.
It was wonderful. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I hope everybody did. Do you have the ability to raise your hands or clap for Mike? I don't know, Mike, you're controlling that there. Can they raise their hand if they enjoyed what they
I
heard
think
tonight?
they can. I think they can put stuff in the chats maybe too.
Anyway, Mike, I'm so glad you're on the team. Honestly, everything you said makes all the sense in the world to me. Like I said, I realize my limitations without a doubt, and I want more than anything else for those of you on this call to be successful. Because if you're successful, Mike and I and Phoebe will be successful. Okay, so we're your biggest cheerleader without a doubt. Mike, you put up the real key to success here. It's personal sponsoring and unifying those people. That's all there is. Just sponsor a couple of people, get them unified, then you're qualified for everything you're going to get paid. I mean, there is some other qualifications that come later down the road, but you can become a multimillionaire by just doing what I just said. Sponsor people. You have an automated system here, 123. They can get to it by nelotraining.com, right?
Yeah, it's at the very bottom of that page, nelotraining.com.
Yeah, nelotraining.com. I mean, that's a great website. uh, I'm excited, really I am, and I know that Fifi is as well. Donna Rainey out of Texas. I know that you're enjoying this too. It's like Mike said, you can't say the right things. You know, you can't say the right things to the wrong people. Can't say the wrong thing to the right people. People I've always said this, and I learned it from probably Jim Rohn too. You know, he was my personal mentor, fortunately. And, he said it's a timing issue with people. You're just looking for people that are looking for you. You're in the sorting business, not the convincing business. That's why I like a step 1, 2, 3. We're just sorting through the people. That's all. Where the time gets right for them, and you've got the magic words and your little quick video, people can see themselves going, well, like I said at the beginning of the call, I mean, who don't want to go to movies? We all travel some, and sporting events. We go to sporting events. We go to concerts. I mean, everybody does what we've got for $59 a month, and we allow them to do it at a great discount in some cases. I mean, I already see these posts, and most of you that's active, if you're online, and I'm encouraging you. You know, I did that the last call. You got to be on these VIP overviews. They're all recorded. If you can't catch them live, go back and watch them. It's the glue that sticks you in this business. But to have an automated system like Mike has put together here for us, it's wonderful. Do you have to use it? No, no, you don't. You can just dig it out like I've had to for 35 years. I promise you, it can be done. But things have changed. They've changed drastically. People don't open their homes like they used to for me to come in and do a meeting, and nobody wants to go downtown. They can't find a place to park, or they got to pay an expensive valet parking to go to a meeting. I've got to rent the room that costs thousands of dollars. People just don't do that as a rule anymore. Everything has changed. This company, Nelo Life, you see the artificial intelligence. I see it every day. I mean, you can't add things this quick, Mike, if there's not some technology there involved and some
Absolutely.
real smart thinking. So Mike has just found a real expedient way for you and I to talk to the world. When he was talking about, can you send out 5 texts a day? No doubt in my mind you can. You could send out 10. You could probably, some of you could send out 20 or more. Let's just sort through the people and find those that are looking for us. And they'll realize the value in this and raise their hand and say, I want to be part of this.